Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Sekar, for the opportunity. First of all, I'd like to extend our welcome to colleagues from the University of Southampton, as well as from other universities around the world. This is a exciting opportunity for us to share some of the initiatives that we've done. I guess in the past year, it was really quite shocking that the pandemic came to life in Indonesia. And I think, having volunteers as well as having a lot of, having Sonjo, it's really nice, to get things going again for the economy as well as the micro and small enterprises, which will be the focus of the talk today. And so I'd like to present community-based initiatives to mitigate the COVID-19 effect among micro and small enterprises. So as a background, there are about 64 million micro, small, and medium enterprises in Indonesia. And then only about 13% or about 8 million of micro, small, and medium enterprises that are, that have gone digital. So there's a lot of adaptations and innovation that the rest of the micro and small enterprises have to go through during the pandemic. That's something that they need to do because statistics show that about 84% experience significant drop in revenue. About 8 out of 10 micro, small, and medium enterprises experience lower demand from customers and clients. They also face difficulties in obtaining a lot of the logistics and then inputs for their businesses. And then 6 out of 10 micro, small, and medium enterprises experience financial difficulty during the pandemic. So the economy was basically buzzing. The economy is growing. People were spending. Households and businesses were investing in the economy. And then the COVID-19 pandemic basically brought a significant disruption to the economy. So there were a lot of adjustments that has to be made. There were lockdowns, that basically limit the mobility of individuals and limit the mobility of businesses, and that created significant disruptions. And so basically in the early stages of the pandemic, lockdowns are basically inevitable. It's basically a policy that would reduce the rate of transmission and as well as protect the health infrastructure in the country. However, there is a trade-off. As we know, the limited mobility has a significant cost to the general economy, not only the big businesses, but also the micro and small enterprises, as well as the informal sector. So what are the strategies to reach out to customers given limited mobility and keep the economy rolling while keeping the rate of transmission low? Well, one of the strategies that we can think of is the adoption of technology and going digital. So it's a solution. However, among those 64 million micro, small, and medium enterprises, a lot of them are actually first digital goers. A lot of them have never been exposed to technology, and many of them haven't been exposed to social media and then online digital marketing. So there were a lot of challenges: low digital literacy, limited access to training, particularly business training, limited budget and knowledge to adopt technology, lack of knowledge on online marketing strategies, low financial literacy, and lack of product innovation. Of course, there are other more challenges out there, but basically it's very much difficult for these micro, small, and medium enterprises to suddenly change the way that they do businesses, given the constraints that they have, not only infrastructure constraints, but also behavioral constraints. And so, okay, we need to go digital, and then we need to adopt technology. But what are the steps to go digital? So it's quite difficult for the government to say, okay, we're gonna have 10 million micro, small, medium enterprises to go digital, without realizing that most of the micro small enterprises are in different stages of development. So some of them even don't have smartphones. Some of them do not have access to internet. However, there are probably a small share of micro small medium enterprises that have gone digital, they have experience, they probably consist of younger generation, so it's quite easy for them to go digital. And so I think acknowledging that MSCs are in different stages of development and are and have different constraints to go digital is a particular start before we devise any interventions or any programs. So it's a good opportunity for policymakers as well as academics, given that there's a lot of scholars out there that did rigorous impact evaluation studies to evaluate different programs and different interventions to improve the livelihood and the productivity of micro and small enterprises. And so we're not able to basically test and evaluate during the pandemic. And so I think our approach was to learn from the literature, and then given what we learned from the literature, how could we best implement interventions or sets of interventions given the constraints and the cultural aspects of people in Indonesia. So we know that marketing, sales, accounting, and financial training interventions improve MSE profitability, as well as training, mentoring of MSE. There were also programs such as subsidized consulting services by business mentors that improve micro and small enterprises, as well as social networks program. So in these social network program, they have regular meetings to discuss financing, management, supplier, clients, and recruitment to improve sales and profits. And so basically, this is the way that we approach the program. So we have series of online marketing tutorials. We have a progressive web app to showcase the MSME, and then we have a community-based marketing, and then we have a peer learning through social networks. So I'll start with the first one, which is the online marketing tutorial. It's a series of messages in WhatsApp groups of SME that includes YouTube link to learn how to create a business logo, how to take product pictures, how to create a product poster, as well as how to create how to market online via webinar. And then we also created a progressive web app to showcase the MSME. This is called the Etalase Pasar Sonjo. So basically, this is a showcase of businesses. And the idea is not to have transactions within the application, but instead we need to showcase the products and then the businesses, and then let the individuals who are interested to do the transactions via the WhatsApp. So we do this not only to onboard MSME to a digital platform, but also for them to learn about even as simple as registering an email and then communicating with customers, and then making sure that basic level of business services are maintained during the interactions with the customers. And to support some of the earlier initiatives, we also collaborated with our colleagues at the political science department to market these products and these goods via social media such as Instagram, Twitter, as well as WhatsApp groups in Sonjo. And then there is a very, I think, interesting series of webinars. And in these webinars, basically, we try to motivate peer learning through social networks. So in this webinar, for example, we discuss about innovative packaging and freezing, which is quite effective during the pandemic. However, packaging technology such as vacuum packing is not easily adopted by MSME. It costs a lot for a trial, and the machine itself is going to cost them some funds to adopt. So there are trial and errors, and so we basically learn from peers in the social network who have successfully adopted the strategy of vacuum packing, and so this would reduce the adoption costs significantly. Now, given that a lot of the MSME have now adopted the vacuum packing, they're now able not only to sell their goods domestically, but they were also able to sell their products in other regions via customer logistics. And so this is something that we're very grateful of, given that there are a lot of individuals in the learning networks who shared their knowledge and their experience. So in Sonjo, we motivate a graduation approach. Basically, this is a learning and upgrading community. And so we're hopeful that individuals as well as enterprises who are familiar with digital platforms and they have a business service level of agreement that they can maintain, they're now able to join established online platforms. It takes a lot of work and then it takes a lot of stages to go to that point. But I guess the experiences that they gain in the smaller community will allow them to actually flourish in the wider market. Also, learning and upgrading through the community allow them to improve the product line, and then they're able to create a series of products or product lines. For example, this is something that we did back in the month of Ramadan, particularly prior to the Eid Fitr holiday. There were a lot of MSME who created festive seasons catalog, and Sonjo also has an initiative to expand the market, not only the domestic but also the international export market. And so Pak Rimawan and then Sonjo team have a Sonjo expert community to motivate people and then to connect people to the wider international network. So as closing remarks, again, to improve digitalization among the MSE, the government must first identify the MSE's stages of development, and then the government tailor interventions or programs that suits MSE stage of development. So it's quite difficult for the MSE if they have to attend a training that is, say, 2 or 3 stages beyond their current capabilities and their current abilities. So having a tailor-made program to specific groups of MSE with the same level of learning is going to be, quite impactful. And there needs to be a qualitative evaluation on the impact of Sonjo's initiative on the productivity of MSE. So learning about successes, failures, and best practices adopted by MSE during the COVID-19 pandemic is important lessons learned for the wider audience. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to having discussions with everyone tonight. Mbak Sekar, over to you.